Hello everybody, I'm Lorii Abela, your Soulmate Expert and Asian Matchmaker. Welcome to tonight's episode of Matchmaker Secrets, where we talk about love, dating, and relationships, and of course, matchmaking. Probably you have been wondering how it is to be a single male at 40s. So that's the reason why we have invited a guest for tonight. He actually participated in one of my events and he was the featured bachelor. Mark Riego de Dios is a living example of how life can still begin at 40 years old. By shedding 70 pounds in 2 years prior, identifying over the past 6 months all viable singles events in Chicagoland for people his age, getting selected out of 100 applicants to be featured on a comedy dating show last fall, and crossing professional modeling off his bucket list this year. And I think like being on TV is one of his bucket list. So hello, Mark. How are you?
Doing all right. How are you doing today, Lorii?
Pretty good. We were just having a conversation earlier. And so tell me about this thing that you said, like you did professional modeling. How did you end up doing that?
Well, I resumed my dating journey 6 months ago, and one thing led to another. Last fall, I stumbled onto, because I like to find new cool events to try, I stumbled onto this comedy dating show, and I applied, and there were 100 applicants. I'm still not sure how I beat them out exactly. Later on, they just told me it was my earnestness and how easy it was to work with me. But I got selected to be one of 3 featured guys on the show, and all they told us on the show was to, going into it, just dress up in a way that you feel confident and hot.
All right.
So I did that, and when they gave me the photos afterwards and I put them on my social media, the girl I was dating at the time, she said I was easily the best looking person on the show. And my guy friends were commenting, dude, you look like a professional model and so forth. And then I got to thinking, like, is that possible at my age to do that? Because most gigs traditionally, they have like a height requirement that I technically fall a bit under. And then earlier this year, I found like this modeling mixer. So it was a great opportunity for me to just figure it out firsthand. And that night, like, it was a crash course in modeling technically. I didn't know it was Valentine's Day themed. So I went in a bit underdressed, and then I just figured, because I went to it, because, you know, great opportunity for photo shoots to try. So I went in, and then they directed me to their stylist, and she lent me this snazzy red jacket, and she put it on me. And all of a sudden, everyone's complimenting me on it. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, why doesn't this jacket fully zip up? And I'm like, oh, it's a woman's jacket. And what was even more interesting, there's this reputable male model there. He's like, hey, when you're done with that jacket, could you give that to me? So, I mean, I didn't attempt as many photo shoots as most professional models would there. I think I only attempted 2. Most of them would try 10 to 15. But other things would be, I was checking out artwork at some point, and they were doing interviews with other people. Apparently for every 4 cameras, you have a light, to which the guy was like, hey, could you hold this light for me? So I was like, just tell me how to hold it. So I got to learn like the other crucial roles in that industry. And in only one of the 2 shots that I attempted, I was still figuring out my pose. I haven't mastered it yet. Photographer was like, hey, Mark, let's try something new I wanted to try. So I did that. He wanted to make a photo of me where it just looks like I'm throwing a rose and it's kind of levitating in front of me. So when I saw that, it's like, I can do this. And so it's very possible.
Cool. Okay, so tell us what are the biggest misconceptions of people about single men in their 40s?
When someone becomes single at 40, people can't help but wonder at that age, at that later age in their life, like, why? Okay, 2 days ago, I was interviewed by this woman who runs events for this group for older singles seeking meaningful relationships. And she precautioned me on how some of the events have a minimum of 45 years of age. But other than that, she said something very enlightening. She said that that most of the singles are either divorced or widowed. And if you're not successful, in other parts of your life, to which it stands out when you're a single person in your 40s, especially men, people or society are tempted to wonder, like, why is he still single at that age? And when I don't think it's anything to be ashamed of. People go through different stuff in their lives, to which, you never know anyone's full story, to which it really isn't something to be ashamed of. I've only been at this for 6 months, and it's still possible to enjoy dating just as much as the people younger than us. So I guess the misconception is people younger, or people who are ignorant, or more like if they haven't gone through what you have later in life, that fear of the unknown or that ignorance will just it'll just like make you have a negative assumption or presumption of things until you know the full story. And if anything, life, it doesn't stop at 40. It could still begin at 40. There are so many different ways you could still level up and enjoy life.
The other day I was actually interviewing another potential client for myself, and then he's also in his 40s. The thing though is that he is a doctor, so like in order to be in school, like he has to take the university, and then like he actually even pursued like masters. And so I was thinking, like, oh my God, like unbelievable, like it's a long years of study. So do you think being single at 40 is seen differently for men compared to women, from what you have seen?
Like in terms of if they have difficulty dating? Or?
Well, it can be like, that, or like it can be also something like, okay, what are the, thinking of people that you have talked to?
Oh, okay. Well, for single men at 40, in their 40s and older, versus single women in their 40s, I would think in some ways for men that it's easier to for them to date, in the sense where there's a certain subset of women that like to date older guys because of the maturity that they would readily have, because at that age you eventually mature. As for women, it might be difficult in the sense where at that age, like, it's taboo to ask a woman you're just meeting what her age is, to which that she feels compelled to compete with, the women younger than her and so forth. But all in all, I don't know much more in terms of how much more or less difficult it is for single men or women versus, at 40 in terms of dating. However, what I do know is that on Reddit, in the infancy of my 6-month dating journey, I saw this Reddit, and someone asked, where do 40-year-old singles in Chicago hang out? And I went through all the suggestions and comments. They're either obsolete or they just leave something to be desired, where I just went on a quest to just figure out what is viable. And it is possible. I'm not saying there's one perfect event, but when you find out which events are worth your time, something that you can enjoy independently of, and to which if you meet someone, that's only a bonus, to which it just all complements each other well. And to which, and this is the other thing, compared to 20 and 30-year-olds where events are offered to them, there are very few events for singles offered, like, in the age ranges above. However, I think that is offset by more and more matchmaking services and organizers who throw events simultaneously with that.
So let me ask you though, will you date somebody 40 and over?
I have that 5-year radius. Well, I'll date someone within 5 years older than me or 5 years younger. I just feel like anyone younger than me, and it's not a bad thing. It's more like, when I was younger, I didn't think I would change much. Actually, that's why I embrace dating in my 40s compared to my 20s, because the older person that you'll date now, they're not expected to change as much than earlier in their life, and that's something to be embraced. So to answer your question, I am open to dating older or younger in a 5-year radius, but I am flexible, maybe 1 or 2 years, as in recent experiences, I dated a girl that was actually 32, about to turn 33, but we had so much of an instant connection from the first time we've met. So I am willing to be flexible in that sense.
Okay, so let me, further that. Like, we talk about age. So how about, like, being an Asian? Do you think, like, it's a problem that you're an Asian as compared to the other people? Like, maybe there are a lot of non-Asian available who are also looking, and then that's what the other women are looking for. Have you ever seen any problem as far as the race is concerned?
I'm not sure. There's always like racial stereotypes that are manifested in jokes and so forth. I don't really concentrate or think too much. I just learn to own it if that's the case, or own who I am. Race is just one part of your overall identity. People have, each person has great things about them, values, ambitions, desires, traits that are independent of color of your skin and how old you are. I'm deviating a bit. In terms of difficulties as an Asian, I think it's more unique to me, but then again, there's that term, Asian don't raisin. Part of the reason I wear my glasses, when some have told me I look better without them, because when I don't, I get mistaken as young as 17 without trying. And it's not even, and it was just mundane things. Two instances in the recent months. I was buying a ticket to see Venom 3 at a theater I've been to at other parts of the year, and then all of a sudden they asked to card me, and I asked, why is that? And, oh, it's protocol. I'll just take it as, I don't know, that day I was looking too young for their taste. My only other experience was I was walking past a high school en route to do some Costco shopping. That week they were giving out tours to incoming freshmen. Tour guide calls me, it was like, sir, do you study here? And I'm like, I'm just trying to go to Costco, man. So in terms of, I just look at it as each race has its own trade-off, like, things that work for them, things that don't. Some people say play to your strengths, hide the weaknesses if you can, but I would say have a tough enough skin to which, in the end, it really shouldn't bother you. The right person for you is out there. I would just say, it's just a matter if you're willing to date within your race or willing to date outside your race. But more importantly, it starts with yourself. Once you do the work on yourself and know what you want, and that kind of reflects who you're looking for, it should all work out.
Okay, got it. Yeah, because I asked you that question because I had some guests before who are Asian women, and so they had also their challenges. So, I just want to find out how it is for men. But in many Asian cultures, there's a strong pressure to marry early. So, have you faced family or societal pressure as far as that is concerned?
It was mostly societal pressure. Like, in my opinion, I think there's an even stronger pressure for, in many Asian families, mine included, to work hard, get good grades, secure a good job, first before relationships can take place. Because, many families, they want what's best for you, parents. They just don't want relationships, dating in school to become a distraction, which is why I think most people, or Asians, don't tend to date early on in life. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, while you're, doing these things, you're doing them in environments with peers and friends to which natural competition ensues, to which there's always that high school popularity contest and reputations and the just trying to keep up or compete in the sense of who could date the most people or so forth. But it just kind of comes with that situation, hence why I believe most of the pressure that I've experienced is societal. Now, in my parents' case, I understand why they wanted me to do all that stuff as the guiding principle. The thing about my parents is they met on early in their careers, and they've been married 45 years presently, and they're simply coming from they meant well. They're simply coming from what they did back then, meeting each other right away, that it worked for them then, so they just thought me doing the same thing in this day and age would work for me when that's kind of far from this case. Dating nowadays is a lot different as it was 5 decades ago.
Got it. Okay. So, what has been your dating experience like? Have you had any serious relationship in the past?
Over the past, since my 20s, I've been in a few relationships. Then in recent years, I've concentrated on my career. I went from starting off working in startups to transitioning into the nonprofit sector and, doing volunteer work in addition to my current role, which is kind of helping out my family as a caretaker. My dad passed away 6 years ago. I'm helping my mom and my sister get back on their feet, to which around that time I was taking a break from dating to help them. But I got on the journey 6 months ago, which is when my dad passed, just because he would have wanted me to move on. And I feel like, because my mom says I have his face, that me succeeding at this, for myself and learning some of the things he never taught me in this day and age, I feel like if I'm succeeding, he's succeeding too, and it just helps keep his memory good. Dating history-wise, currently, I've found out different singles events, speed dating events, and I eventually got successful to a point where back then, you had friends that thought they know about dating, but they really don't. To which, at best, before I shedded that 70 pounds, a friend would say, the only times I ever heard a girl was interested in me was when my friend at the time would do, hey, that girl's checking you out and stuff. But then when I corroborated on my own and started to learn to think for myself, that really wasn't the case. To which now I eventually leveled up and took control of my own life, where now when I've asked the girls that I've gone out with in the past 6 months, it's because I knew that they would say yes and that we would have a good time, and that and I was completely right, and that's true confidence. It's like one of your 28 rules you post on your Instagram: be confident, not arrogant. And there's other rules of yours that I still use this day that already reinforces my mature mindsets and my willingness to learn or adjust whenever I feel like I kind of made a dating mistake and so forth. But it's important to start somewhere, and you're starting from experience the more you go on, and it's when you make mistakes early on, it's easy for you to learn and get past to a point. To which the other thing I've enjoyed about the events I've gone to is I've also made single friends. It's kind of like, you kind of dread when you're single and you're hanging out with a married couple and you feel like they're cramping their style a bit, that sums up my dating history today.
Yeah. So, do you prefer dating with your own culture, or you have been open to dating from different backgrounds?
Well, on paper, it seems that it made sense to me at the time that dating women in my own culture made sense because of similar cultural upbringing. But then I started to realize that that's just one part of you. There's so many different layers to a person, where some of my most fun and great dating experiences this time, I've dated women outside my race, and we're still on good terms, where they liked my open-mindedness, and to which we have other things in common beyond upbringing, and to which there are just so many layers to consider in terms of compatibility. I mean, overall, I don't really concentrate too much on race when it comes to dating and so forth. It really depends on other things like mutual level of attraction, mutual interests. If you already know what you want in someone, and if that person qualifies in that sense, and it works both ways, and if you two are engaging in a reciprocating, relationship, as opposed to something where it's one-sided and so forth.
Got it. So, what are the qualities that you're looking for a potential mate?
Well, I do value health, and I do value fitness. And when it comes to the qualities I want in someone, I've narrowed them down to which, for the most part, it kind of already reflects me currently, or describes myself. To which it would be weird if I wasn't fit and then I asked, or I demanded to, be with somebody that was completely healthy and fit. And when I say values fitness and health, like, one thing is saying that, but seeing it physically reflect to you, there's that saying, when words don't match actions, it's manipulation and so forth, to which that's kind of what I look for physically and in terms of mindset and attitude as well. Other traits being a mutual level of attraction. Like, someone could be right on paper for you, have all those qualities, but if there isn't a high enough level of interest or attraction, from one side or another, it's not going to sustain. Like, I look at dating as an investment. I mean, dates do cost money, to which, like, why would I pay to take out somebody that isn't really interested in me? It would kind of be a waste of my time and so forth, and some people would take advantage of that. So along those lines, fitness, health, mutual level attraction. I'm not gonna say I need, like, I do like to read books, but I'm not gonna demand that the same from my ideal partner. Like, if anything, it's interesting when I meet someone on dates and then they tell me what their favorite book it is, but it's an opportunity for me to see, like, do they practice what they preach? Because it's a red flag, and I've seen some people I've dated where that wasn't the case, for example. So in other words, in terms of qualities I don't look for in someone, it's double standards.
Okay, all right. So what was, because like you have mentioned like fitness, so what was the reason why you decided like to lose weight? Is it because like you wanna meet women who are like...
Oh, not at all. That actually happened on accident and unintentionally. Here's my story. And this actually ties into my dating history as well. In my 20s and 30s, it turns out that I was friends with some toxic people. There's this saying, you're an average of the 5 people in your life that you hang out with most. And then there's Pareto's 80-20 principle. When you get rid of the most problematic 20% of a situation, you get rid of 80% of headaches that come with it. So I had a toxic friend 5 years ago, and he was so insistent on, like, essentially, he believed in the whole wingman culture. I don't believe that. I believe someone should like me for me, not because of who I'm associated with. We had a disagreement about creative differences. Basically, he wanted me to do something, like take the fall in terms of dating. Like, all I did was have a conversation with a fiance or something, just a conversation, no physical exchange. She never even asked me for any contact info. She never showed signs of interest. He could have told me that, hey, her boyfriend's getting jealous. I mean, if he told me that early on, I'd been like, hey, that's fine. I'll end the conversation. Let's go elsewhere. Problem solved. He didn't do that. And even weirder, Lorii, he demanded that next time I see her, I make her as unattracted to me as possible. When I kept trying to tell him, there's no zero attraction. If I piss her off, it's going to only emotionally engage her. So it's like, I want to help people. I just can't help people when I'm not given the information early on. To which I started to see, if he lied about that, what else is he lying about? To which I ended the friendship with him, and in the process I lost 40 pounds.
Oh my God.
And I was already I was already doing all the things you're supposed to be doing before that. Working out, eating right. I don't smoke, so I avoid such vices as that. And nothing. To which, when that happened, 40 pounds easy. And over 2 years ago, I did the same thing with a second person, 30 pounds down. I never expected after 40 or at 40 to be at my high school weight, but it did happen, to which I was working out even less. I didn't even need to work out. All I did was walk around a lot, and it's not like I did any extreme dieting. Like, I guess to go back to your question and other things I enjoy doing, or with somebody, it's finding good deals on restaurants and food and recreational activities, to which I would splurge on the buffet concurrently here and there, and it never really affected me then. So to answer your question, I intentionally lost 70 pounds.
Oh,
That
my God.
legitimately sustained. And if anything, there's that myth. Your body breaks down at 40. Apparently, I'm an exception, that to which maybe people who said that notion are people who haven't figured out themselves or didn't know how possible it was. But it is possible. And I think it's still possible now for people even older that. I guess to sum it up, I made healthier and better choices in my life to which the weight loss was a consequence, a good consequence. Like for me, I focused on thinking for myself and taking control of my life and not letting toxic people tell me what to do. I mean, if anything, it ties into dating too. Unless somebody is in the dream relationship currently that you want to be in, chances are anyone else doesn't really know that much more to guide you and so forth. Hence the dating advice that people will readily dispense to you.
Got it. So thank you so much, Mark, for this opportunity. And then for those people who are watching, I just want to let you know, if you're single and still looking, I want to have you in my show. And if you are already successful in a relationship, maybe you've been married like several years prior, and you have some nuggets to share, we want to have you over here. Or if you're a professional in the industry, we would like to also have you over here. Just give us a holler. And we look forward to seeing you again sometime soon. And then bye-bye, folks. You take care.
Thank you.